Anime, Dead Mount Death Play. Continuing to episode 5, everyone appeared cautious upon knowing that Lemmings was present in the area. However, Clarissa was confident that Lemmings' purpose here was not to kill. If that were the case, someone would have already died by now. Nonetheless, Eris still wanted to capture Lemmings. After all, he was a wanted criminal. Iwa warned Eris that they were in a public place, so they shouldn't be too reckless. Polka could sense that Lemmings was more dangerous than Eris. With his evil eye, he could see numerous human spirits following Lemmings. The spirits' feelings of hatred and fear conflicted with one another. It didn't take long for Lemmings to attack the police officers accompanying Iwa and Eris. His attacks were strong but not lethal. Eris also joined in the attack, but he felt underestimated by Lemmings. Iwa could only helplessly watch as they caused chaos in a public place. Lemmings looked towards Polka and Misaki. It seemed that he was more interested in them. Lemmings swiftly moved and carried Misaki, holding her in his arms. Polka actually wanted to save Misaki, but he didn't want his powers to be revealed. His peaceful life would be ruined if he became a target of the police. Polka also believed that his peaceful life wouldn't be attainable if he antagonized Lemmings. The most sensible choice at the moment was to escape and leave Misaki behind. However, Polka was someone who prioritized his friends. He used his magic to attack Lemmings. He himself didn't know why he was acting so foolishly. At that moment, he was reminded of his teacher. Iwa briefly saw a circle of Polka's magic. Clarissa quickly extinguished the candle that illuminated the area. Polka successfully hit Lemmings, reclaiming Misaki. However, Polka didn't expect Lemmings to still move swiftly in this darkness. He skillfully dodged Polka's bone magic attacks. Then, as he approached Misaki again, instead of kidnapping her, he seemed to be whispering to her. Based on Misaki's response, it seemed that Lemmings was asking something. Fortunately, Misaki refused to disclose it. When Lemmings looked at Polka, Misaki informed him that Polka had nothing to do with this matter. Misaki whispered something to Lemmings. Not only that, but she also bit his hand. It seemed that she wanted to paralyze Lemmings. Her bite couldn't pierce Lemmings' bandage, but she stabbed him with a fork she had previously licked. Lemmings stumbled after being stabbed. Polka took this opportunity to prepare a powerful spell. He summoned a giant skeletal body and crushed the defenseless Lemmings. The electricity had returned to its normal state. The entire room was in chaos and disarray. Polka, Misaki, and Lemmings were no longer there. Iwa and Eris hadn't expected it to be this difficult. They needed to prepare with full equipment, especially after witnessing the strength of Lemmings. A young bespectacled man, who seemed like a boss, welcomed Lemmings' return. The young man referred to Lemmings as Nezu. He felt surprised that Lemmings took such a long time this time. Lemmings whispered something to the young man, seemingly reporting that the Jinba group had been killed. Lemmings remained silent, as if wanting to convey something. Then, he pointed to a family photo that included Polka in it. Polka and Misaki recounted what had happened at Clarissa's bar. Kuruya could hardly believe that Lemmings had actually come there. He was a legendary figure in Shinjuku City. He earned his nickname because of his unknown appearances and his ability to silently complete tasks, as if he was everywhere like a lemming, a rodent-like creature. Fortunately, they were all safe. However, this time Polka had used a considerable amount of his magical energy. At least, Polka managed to absorb the spirits surrounding Lemmings and replenish his magical energy. Polka thanked Misaki for not revealing his secret to Lemmings. Misaki also expressed her gratitude for being rescued. Polka once again remembered the words of his teacher. His teacher advised him that if he intended to help someone, he should do so whether they were acquaintances or strangers. His teacher believed that Polka would live a long life as a necromancer. 1 second could be equivalent to 1 year, and the difference wouldn't be felt. Therefore, there was no need to measure something based on its duration. The longer one lived, the more emotions they would experience, and it would cause Polka to unconsciously act in dangerous situations. Polka realized that he was still struggling to protect anyone at the moment. He once again asked for help from Misaki, Kuruya, and the original Polka to pursue him in this world. Regardless of how long they had been friends, he didn't want to sacrifice the smiles of his friends. The bespectacled young man was talking to himself. He didn't expect that the person in the family photo, specifically Polka, was still alive. He had been completely deceived. The next day, Polka decided to start working. After the events of the previous night, he finally understood that his magical energy was still insufficient. If he wanted to have a peaceful life, he needed to have a lot of money. The power of a necromancer could be used in battles, but there were other uses as well. For example, a necromancer could make a contract with a conscious spirit and allow it to enter an object to move it. Polka practiced this technique. Below the building, there was a conscious spirit. Polka made a contract with it and asked it to enter a pencil. Then, the pencil could move on its own and write something. It seemed that the spirit had a good relationship with Clarissa. The spirit introduced itself as Hozorogi, who died 5 years ago. In this world, it seemed that only Polka could use magic for this business. Perhaps he could find a market for this idea. In fact, Polka had already made an advertising signboard. After hearing Polka's explanation, Kuruya strongly rejected the idea. If Polka pursued that business, he would become a target and wouldn't be able to live a peaceful life. Fortunately, Hozorogi had a good idea for Polka to make money. They immediately executed that idea. Polka became some kind of fortune teller to address people's concerns. Actually, Polka received answers from the spirits following his clients. In addition, the pencil moved by Hozorogi's spirit added a mystical impression to the performance. The pencil wrote advice that matched the client, which made people believe in Polka's predictions. Within a week, they were able to collect 10,000 yen. Hozorogi suggested that if Polka wanted his predictions to appear genuine, he should learn hot reading and cold reading techniques. Not only assisted by spirits, Kuruya also helped gather information based on the names and birth dates provided by clients. Then, the information could be shared with Polka through his magical eyeballs. However, Kuruya considered the moving pencil to be just a trick to deceive, not actually helping the clients. Hozorogi explained that was indeed the purpose. Initially, people came out of suspicion. However, after believing in the moving pencil, it would be easier to manipulate their minds. Polka felt proud of his first earnings. He wanted to evenly distribute the money among 5 people: himself, Misaki, Kuruya, the original Polka, and Hozorogi. Polka, who currently resides in the Shark Doll, feels unworthy of receiving the money. However, he still wants to give it as a token of gratitude for lending his body. Kuruya suddenly interjects, saying that the original Polka is already accustomed to seeing a lot of money, so he doesn't really need it. Kuruya forgets that the corpse god cannot recall all the memories of the original Polka's body. Just as Kuruya is about to explain about his family, Shinoyama Polka, 2 young children accompanied by 3 guards enter the place. The 2 children address Polka as uncle and they haven't seen each other for half a month. The original Polka explains that they are Shinoyama Kazuki and Shinoyama Shizuki, twin siblings and his nephews. Kazuki assumes that Polka is being ordered around by Misaki and Kuruya, which is why he ran away from home. Polka is worried that Kazuki and Shizuki will become suspicious of his different behavior. If his secret is revealed, the peaceful life he yearns for will vanish. Putting aside family matters, the reason they came to the place was to try Polka's fortune telling. Polka cryptically explains that everything happens by chance, so they should come another time. Kuruya also suggests they go back home. Kazuki doesn't like being ordered around by ordinary people. He feels more powerful. But Kuruya says he could report them to the police. Moreover, Kazuki and Shizuki brought a group of people and broke into the closed shop. It's natural for an ordinary person to feel scared and report it to the police. Kazuki and Shizuki's guards realize that Kuruya is recording their conversation, so it's better not to say anything strange. Polka intervenes in their conflict, especially when he sees Kazuki on the verge of tears. Polka hugs his 2 nephews and assures them that their future will be fine. He promises to protect them. Polka says he will return home tomorrow, so Kazuki and Shizuki should go back as well. In truth, Polka plans to head to the original Polka's house because he has noticed a spirit following the siblings. The spirit keeps pleading for help in regard to Kazuki and Shizuki. Polka explains to Kuruya and Misaki about the spirit he saw. Despite its sinister appearance, it is not actually an evil spirit. Polka can sense that it wants to protect the 2 children. However, his consciousness is starting to fade. Moreover, Polka can't just stay idle after hearing the spirit's plea for help. After that, Kuruya explains about the Shinoyama conglomerate family. They have trillions of yen in assets from their main business, Shinoyama Bank. Polka is the second child of Shinoyama Roseanne, the current leader of the Shinoyama family. Roseanne is already 79 years old. If he were to pass away, Polka would have the right to inherit his wealth. Perhaps that's why Polka is being targeted. Kuruya has a hunch that the person who hired Misaki to kill him is from his own family. Therefore, it would be entering enemy territory if Polka were to return home right now. They come up with the idea of having Misaki act as Polka's guardian. As Kazuki and Shizuki prepare to get into the car to go home, the young man with glasses from earlier, whose name turns out to be Shinoyama Takeru, is inside the car. He asks about Polka's whereabouts, and Kazuki informs him that Polka will be returning home tomorrow. Takeru mentions that he will hire a caretaker for tomorrow and advises Kazuki and Shizuki to be careful. He also mentions the possibility of another accident like the one that happened to Suzuka. Although it's unclear who Suzuka is, it is likely that she is the spirit who has been following them. This is the end of episode 5. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss part 6 of this series recap.